is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. Homestand kicks off tonight. It's the first of three against the Chicago Cubs. A packed house at Busch Stadium. A beautiful night for baseball, and let's get it going. With Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin, and welcome to Cardinals baseball. A lot of moves, a lot of moving parts right now for the Cardinals. We'll jump into that momentarily, but let's jump into this. And this is a positive. Matt Carpenter has dominated the Chicago Cubs this year, our Kubota Power Stats.
It's been so much fun, Dan, to watch him turn his season around, but not a lot of fun for the Chicago Cubs. He has punished Cub pitching. 8 home runs, average over 300, a high slugging percentage, and it's gotten to the point where Joe Maddon is walking him intentionally when he has the opportunity.
Doesn't matter, righties or a lefty like tonight, Mike Montgomery. Carpenter has been sensational. Luke Weaver will go for the Cardinals tonight. Youth is served in the bullpen, in the rotation. The studio has more on that. A lot of moving parts, the roster of the Cardinals, and with more on that, let's check in with Jim Hayes.
The bullpen struggles for the Cardinals, Dan, were ongoing and obvious today. They addressed those issues, and they did it in a very big way. Greg Holland, DFA. Tyler Lyons, DFA. Brett Cecil, 10-day DL with a foot issue. Sam Tuivailala traded to Seattle for a pitching prospect. The guys coming in, Luke Weaver, who starts tonight. Daniel Ponce de Leon, who just threw 7 innings of no-hit ball in his big league debut. Dakota Hudson, who was 13-3 in Memphis, and Tyler Webb, also promoted from AAA. John Mozeliak says Ponce, Hudson, and Webb will all work out of the bullpen. He says the Cards had to do something.
You know, clearly things weren't working on our bullpen, and you know, making radical changes or as many changes as we did, we just felt like we were in a place where we had internal resources we wanted to give a chance to.
The Cards weren't the only team making moves. For more on that, we send it over to Erica Weston.
Jim, the Chicago Cubs are continuing their playoff push today by acquiring left-handed veteran Cole Hamels from the Texas Rangers. Hamels, an all-star as recently as 2016 when he went 15-5 that season, but his ERA has risen rapidly the last few years. Joe Maddon said before today's game that his stuff looks the same. It's a matter of execution, but this is a guy that makes you noticeably better. He added he has an idea when he'll make his first start with Chicago, but he wasn't ready to share, but they have spoken internally about it. Dan.
All right, thank you. We're just about set to go. The St. Louis Cardinals, the Chicago Cubs, here in St. Louis in a packed house at Busch. First pitch next. Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. By Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the St. Louis area. Find yours at your Mid-America Chevy dealer. And by Sling Television. Live TV you love, only better. As we mentioned in our open, a lot of moving parts. The roster of the Cardinals, and with more on that, let's check in with Jim Hayes.
The bullpen struggles for the Cardinals, Dan, were ongoing and obvious today. They addressed those issues, and they did it in a very big way. Greg Holland, DFA. Tyler Lyons, DFA. Brett Cecil, 10-day DL with a foot issue. Sam Tuivailala traded to Seattle for a pitching prospect. The guys coming in. Luke Weaver, who starts tonight. Daniel Ponce de Leon, who just threw 7 innings of no-hit ball in his big league debut. Dakota Hudson, who was 13-3 in Memphis. And Tyler Webb, also promoted from AAA. John Mozeliak says Ponce, Hudson, and Webb will all work out of the bullpen. He says the Cards had to do something.
You know, clearly things weren't working on our bullpen, and you know, making radical changes or as many changes as we did, we just felt like we were in a place where we had internal resources we wanted to give a chance to.
The Cards weren't the only team making moves. For more on that, we send it over to Erica Weston.
Jim, the Chicago Cubs are continuing their playoff push today by acquiring left-handed veteran Cole Hamels from the Texas Rangers. Hamels an all-star as recently as 2016 when he went 15-5 that season, but his ERA has risen rapidly the last few years. Joe Madden said before today's game that his stuff looks the same. It's a matter of execution, but this is a guy that makes you noticeably better. He added he has an idea when he'll make his first start with Chicago, but he wasn't ready to share, but they have spoken internally about it. Dan.
All right, thank you. We're just about set to go. The St. Louis Cardinals, the Chicago Cubs, here in St. Louis in a packed house at Busch. First pitch next. Against the Chicago Cubs. Along with Rick Horton, Jim Hayes, and Erica Weston, I'm Dan McLaughlin. It's 82 degrees in a packed house at Busch. The season numbers on the right-hander Luke Weaver, 5-9, the 4.79 ERA, and his Hyundai pitch arsenal. You can look at it. The bottom line is he needs to throw strikes.
And he needs to have command of his fastball that sets up what can be a devastating changeup. But for Luke Weaver, the key for him is to really get deeper into this ball game And Weaver has shown flashes, Dan. He's been healthy. He's making start number 21. That's good news, but I think he's got a higher level in him.
Mike Shildt and the Cardinals are an even 500, 51 and 51, 9 games back of Joe Maddon's Cubs. They are 60 and 42. Anthony Rizzo at the top of their lineup, followed by Albert Almora Jr. and then Jason Hayward, Javi Baez, Ben Zobrist, Kyle Schwarber, Ian Happ, the pitcher batting 8th, and then the switch hitter Victor Caratini. So a lot of lefties in this lineup.
A lot of lefties and a lot of pressure in that lineup too. Even when you get to a Schwarber towards the end of the lineup, you know he has a lot of power potential, and Luke Weaver's job is to stay out of the middle of the plate.
Nice to be back home, isn't it?
Not the greatest of road trips, however.
Tough one in Chicago, and the Cardinals, you know, you look at that series in Cincinnati, could have won all 3, probably should have won 2 of 3, and they win 1. First pitch, Rizzo pops it up. Calling for it, the third baseman, Matt Carpenter. Under it, 1 away. Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Ozuna, Pham, and Fowler in the outfield. Along the infield, Carpenter and DeYoung on the left side, Munoz and Martinez on the right, and the 9-time All-Star behind the plate, Yadier Molina. Your initial impressions of Mike Shildt?
Well, it's certainly a good baseball man. He's 4-5 in his first 9 games of managing the Cardinals, and I don't think this is overwhelming him. You know, when you're a bench coach, you're basically managing along with the manager, and he was a 3-time champion, Danny, in the minor leagues, managing some of these players that have now gotten to the big leagues. So I don't think this position is past him.
And a fly ball off the bat of Albert Almora to the former Cub Dexter Fowler, and there's 2 away. Let's turn to Rick Horton's Toyota key to the game.
Well, I've alluded to it already. It's Luke Weaver going deeper in this game. Only 6 of his 20 starts has he gone 6 or more innings. And to go 6 or more innings, you have to have 3 pitches working. You have to have a plan B. He's been great at the plan A for the most part, but when things aren't going well, he's had a hard time keeping that spiral from going negatively, and that's where the plan B matters, and that's how you get deep into games.
Jason Hayward, in many ways a bounce back season, now batting 3rd in their lineup. He's hitting .281 with 7 home runs. He has driven in 44 this year. Outfield is straight away, and the 1-0 pitch. Hayward, it looks like a different stance.
His hands are different. His elbows aren't together. He's not tied up. And it took him a long time to make that change, but he is driving the ball much better with authority.
And also taking the ball the other way.
Exactly.
We saw so many ground balls to second where he'd roll over that outside pitch, and now he gets to that ball.
We saw that in Chicago.
And the 2-1 pitch to Hayward. A base hit into left center. Cut off by Ozuna, holding Hayward to a single.
Well, here's the ball the other way that you're talking about. He's a lot simpler with his swing, straight to the ball. He's not tied up with his arms. He can get him extended easier. He can actually keep his hands inside the ball easier to get that ball to go the other way. And he has changed dramatically, Dan, from what we saw a season ago. He's back to being, at least in terms of production, the Jason Hayward that the Atlanta Braves know about.
Let me give you an idea how good Javi Baez has been this year. He's batting cleanup, playing shortstop tonight. He leads the Cubs in runs, hits, doubles, triples, homers, RBI, stolen bases.
And style points.
And style points. And that's by a wide margin.
Big lead there.
What a player.
Not that there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying.
Leaders in RBI in the National League. Suarez of Cincinnati with 78. And then Baez with 74. So 7 categories he leads his team in. It doesn't happen very often. He's trying to become the 28th player in the live ball era, so since 1920, to lead his team in those categories. And the first since, this may surprise you, Nate McLouth of Pittsburgh in 2008.
May surprise me?
I am surprised. Stan the Man did it a couple of times for the Cardinals. And there's a base hit into right on an 0-2 pitch.
Yachty asked for that pitch, Dan, about head high. 0-2. And I know it was up. I'm not sure how up it was, but Baez really does a nice job of hitting. Look at Yachty's glove. He wants it high, high, and it's about letter high, not shoulder high.
There may be no better team in terms of base running than the Cubs, and also in terms of going first to third. They lead in that category by about 25, going first to third in the big leagues on a base hit. That's a big difference. The switch hitting Ben Zobrist. If there was ever a Joe Madden type player, this is it. Switch hitter, can play the outfield and the infield, and hit at any spot in the lineup. The splits on Zobrist. Good player.
The splits I want to see is what he bats when he's wearing blue shoes and what he bats when he's wearing the black shoes that he prefers. That is his homage to old-time baseball.
I like that look.
Well, he does too, but they won't allow it.
Now, there has been a little bit of a pullback, I understand, by Major League Baseball with it, but initially he was being fined, is my understanding. Some players never showing the sock or the stirrup. And the 1-2 pitch. Little bouncer hit to the right side. Taken there by Munoz, and no damage done. Matt Carpenter, as Ricky mentioned in the open, it's been a remarkable season against the Cubs. An unwelcome Matt. Certainly that's the case if you're from Chicago. Matt Carpenter hitting .275 this year. He's popped 25 home runs. Not bad from the leadoff spot. And his next leadoff homer will be a Cardinal record. Yadier Molina to follow, and then Paul DeYoung, Jose Martinez, Marcelo Zuna, Tommy Pham, Dexter Fowler, Jairo Munoz, and the pitcher, Luke Weaver. What do we know about Mike Montgomery?
Got a very good changeup, and he's left-handed, and we know what that means. Cardinals facing a left-hander. You would think that would be a positive, Dan, because the Cardinals are a heavy right-handed team and have been all season long.
His Hyundai pitch arsenal, as Ricky mentioned, the changeup. Cardinals this year 13-14 against left-handed starters.
First time I remember seeing Montgomery, he was pitching out of the bullpen in the American League, and he came into a game against the Cardinals and struck out 6 in 2 innings. He was just nasty, unbelievable, and his slider was really his pitch then. And I think the first time we saw him with the Cubs, he had a very similar game, and I thought, wow, we'll never hit this guy. And he's been in between starter and reliever, and the Cubs have had issues in their rotation, so that's where he is.
Carpenter still atop the leaderboard in the National League with his 25 homers. And the numbers really have improved this season against left-handed pitching. Remember, it took a dip the last couple of years. The 2-1 pitch. The last game that we saw the Cubs, Joe Maddon used 4 outfielders and 3 infielders on the right side and just dared Matt Carpenter to bunt. Carpenter told me the other day he thought Joe may do that. And he lifts it in the air out to center. Almora the catch. Schwarber, Almora, and Hayward in the outfield. Around the horn presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Happ, Baez, Zobrist, and Rizzo along the infield, and Victor Caratini is behind the plate.
Danny, you said in the first inning, isn't it nice to be home? Isn't it nice to be home and have a packed house again? Yadi coming to the plate, and I looked around at the number of people that were happy to have Yadi back and the Cardinals.
Just a big ovation.
Just love the support here.
Over 45,000 expected tonight, and big crowds expected all weekend long. Will be tomorrow on Fox Sports Midwest if you don't have a ticket. And then Sunday, it's the ESPN Sunday night telecast. And Rick will be over at my house on the couch. We'll be doing the game and selling tickets there. Come on over. Matter of fact, I want to retract that because I'm afraid that people might take me up on that.
They might just do that.
Yadi serves it into right center and a base hit.
I'm sure that would be a very different broadcast if we did that.
Or would it?
And there's Yadi just swinging the bat again. Always does a nice job of using all fields. He lets the ball get deep. 94. You think, well, that's past him, and then he just drops the bat head and lines it into right center. He is a smart hitter.
Here's Paul DeYoung. He did a homer the other day in Cincinnati, his first since coming off the DL. What is it like from a player's perspective, Rick? It had been talked about a lot in the media and amongst fans that, well, changes may be coming, and then you arrive after the off day, and all of a sudden, boy, not only is there one change, there's a bunch.
Well, it's not just change one. This is change two. Change one was Mike Schilt becoming the manager, and I think that was a gut check for a lot of players. I heard some really good comments out of the Cardinals clubhouse that it's not Matheny's fault, it's my fault. And you always love for players to say that. It's my fault. And I think that's a healthy thing. But the next step is you've got to do something to fix the bullpen, and I think it makes a lot of sense, all the moves that were made today.
Base hit into center field. Molina will stop at second. And back-to-back hits for the Cardinals.
Sometimes hitting is patience. It's an off-speed pitch. You keep the hands back, 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 and then drive it. So it wasn't perfectly timed by DeYoung in terms of his body and his hands, but he kept his hands back enough to be able to barrel it.
And both these hits coming on 0-2 pitches. So a different look to the Cardinals lineup tonight. Jose Martinez is in the cleanup spot. Ozuna dropping down to the 5th position. Look, these players are human beings. They read the paper. Some listen to talk radio or watch MLB Network and all the rumors going around. And this is one of the guys that is probably hearing his name a lot in trade rumors.
Well, if you don't listen to talk radio, you know somebody who does.
Good point.
That's the reality of being a player. And people can't wait to tell you what they heard. And even if you don't want to hear it and you're trying to keep yourself from that distraction, you know it. Any rumor that's out there, someone will tell you. And he would be a valuable commodity to certain teams. There's no question about it. He's a valuable commodity here. So you'd hate to see him go unless there's a truckload of prospects.
I think you would have to say his best position is designated hitter.
I would say his best position is hitting.
Yep.
It's not a position, though, is it?
331 with runners on his average. 316 with runners in scoring position. And the 1-1. And by the way, he's also extremely valuable coming off the bench. I mean, he's around a 450 career pinch hitter, his average. So you get the idea. The man can flat out hit. But where do you put him with a National League team in the field? Cardinals have had to face that this year with double switches, trying him in right, various spots on the diamond. The 2-1.
And look, it's not for lack of effort for Jose. We've I think talked about that several times throughout the year, how much time he spent with Jose Oquendo and Ollie Marmol working on defense, whether it's first base, the outfield. He's showing up. He's putting in the time. But his best gift is what he's doing right now.
3-1 pitch. Lost the bat, and it's a 4-6-3 double play. So the Cubs get out of a first inning jam, and there's no score.
2 teammates DFA'd, 1 to the DL, 1 traded away. The Cardinal bullpen has a much different look to it today. Bud Norris told me that's how it goes in baseball. Bud said, it's tough to see guys go. Those are our brothers, but we'll embrace the new guys and try to win games. Bud said, we all understand when you're getting opportunities, you have to get the job done. If you don't, they'll find someone that can, but also said 5 days left until the deadline. You better be aware it could happen to you or the guy next to you. And Dan, we had John Mozeliak on the pregame show earlier tonight. He said there are likely more moves to come.
Yeah, great interview with him on the pregame. Schwarber bounces one foul. Now, in the immediate future, it's the trade deadline. And Mo has talked about, okay, let's improve the team now, but also looking ahead to 2019. And he made it clear, we're not throwing in the towel yet this year. We've addressed a poor situation, our bullpen. Let's see if we can get it going.
Doesn't like the word seller or buyer, either one, just wants to make the team better. And I think the first step is making it better by giving some young guys who've earned that chance. And we're talking about guys that pitched extremely well. Ponce de Leon and Dakota Hudson, 2 of the best pitchers in AAA. So this is not a panic moment. This is not pushing them to where they don't belong. They earned this trip here. So give them a chance, see what happens. But I'm not saying that's the end of the line either. There may be more coming.
With a count of 3 balls and 1 strike, the Cardinals bring Carpenter over second base side of the bag. DeYoung near the bag. It's short. And you wonder if Schwarber's backing out of the box and saying, well, do I drop down a bunt here? .554 on base percentage when leading off an inning. That's fouled back now, 3-2. You have to be awfully tempted with that alignment and a count of 3-1, just especially at that point in the inning. You're leading off. Get on base.
Guys are tempted by the big fly.
And now he strikes out. First strikeout for Luke Weaver.
It's a breaking ball and not really a very good one. It's up in the zone, not where he intended it to be. And Schwarber was going to let it go and then realized it might catch the top of the zone. That's why he struck out.
And it brings in the switch hitter Ian Happ. He's at third base tonight. Chris Bryant dealing with a sore shoulder, so he's back on the DL. There's Bryant. There with Addison Russell. Well, they've got some talent. John Lester there in the background. Chris Bryant. Cardinals have seen him hit 3 home runs this year. And overall 11. So some of the numbers down, and you wonder if that's a byproduct of a sore shoulder he's been dealing with basically since day one. Cardinals, for the most part, have pitched very well to Ian Happ. 15 strikeouts in 32 at bats.
He has over 100.
In this day and age, you mentioned you love the big fly. 100 strikeouts, 150, 180. Who cares anymore, right?
Well, you love the big fly because you sit around and talk about contract in December, and that's the number that keeps coming up.
You bet.
RBIs, on base percentage.
High chopper to Carpenter. Out number 2. Manage your dream team in franchise mode. Plus, get weekly stats, roster updates, and more. RBI Baseball 18. It's available now. Learn more at RBIGame.com. Rated E for everyone. That's a good site there. Alex Reyes. What would the season look like with a healthy Alex Reyes?
It's a good site, but it also reminds you of the Cardinal season, doesn't it?
Sure does.
He may be the photo of the 2018 Cardinals to date. I mean, there's still plenty of games left. Game number 103. I say plenty. Things would have to change drastically.
Carlos Martinez on the DL right now. Reyes would have changed not only what you're doing in the rotation, but then the residual effect of the bullpen. And there's a strikeout. 2 in the inning, 2 in the game. For Luke Weaver, coming up, Marcell Ozuna, Tommy Pham, and Dexter Fowler for St. Louis. A scoreless game here at Busch. Can't catch a game on television. You can stream games live on your mobile device. Download the Fox Sports Go app, log in, and stream the Cardinals. Absolutely gorgeous night. Late July here in St. Louis. Ozuna, Pham, and Fowler for the Cardinals. No score. Well, you move Ozuna out of the cleanup spot, maybe mentally take some of the pressure off of him.
Yeah, I think it makes sense, and I don't think you want to move him too far away from RBI spots, though. And the 5th spot, I think, is a good place to land for him. And, you know, he's a guy, you know, he's been working at it. I think his play has been better in the last couple of weeks on the defensive side. I think he's been much more aggressive defensively. His routes have been great, and you know, he's a Gold Glover last year, and frankly we didn't see that first couple of months, but I think I can see what everybody saw in his defense with the Marlins in the past based on what we've seen the last 2 weeks.
He is 6 for 32 since the All-Star break. The 2-1 pitch up the middle and a base hit. So the Cardinals already with 3 base hits. Tommy Pham this season against the Cubs, Archaea drive to success, 342 the average. 3 homers, he's driven in 10, and he scored 12. Often overlooked the amount of runs that Tommy Pham has scored this year. No player scored more runs against Chicago this season than Tommy. You find this to be an anxious time for players, the trade deadline?
It very much can be, because you're not really sure and you're not settled, I guess. If you're in a normal work environment, you love that word, settled, with your employees. You want people to feel comfortable in their job.
And apparently that did hit Tommy Pham, so the first 2 have reached for the Cardinals, and Joe Madden perplexed. May have got him on the right foot, his back foot. Let's take a look.
Nothing more frustrating for a pitcher than to throw a slow curveball that hits somebody in the foot. I mean, I'm telling you, I did that on an 0-2 pitch to Ken Griffey Sr. And I'm telling you, it took me a few innings to get over the frustration of it, because it's just, you know it doesn't hurt him. So you can't, I'm not saying you're going to take some joy in that, but it just seems like such a waste.
Yeah. Here's Dexter Fowler. Are you seeing signs of Dexter getting better?
Yeah, and the better started from the right side before the left side, oddly enough. His natural position is right-handed, his normal stance, but he has been off to such a slow start right-handed, but he started driving the ball, game-winning home run the other way in Cincinnati.
The grand slam from this side of the plate against the White Sox.
Timing's been better.
You get the feeling too, there's a comfort level, at least initially, with Mike Schilt in the fact that Dexter isn't being double switched out of games. He's starting every day. Righty lefty doesn't matter. That's got to be to his benefit.
Well, it's the advantage that a switch hitter should enjoy if you're hitting from both sides of the plate, that you're not going to be platoon. Now, I'm not saying it's been a wrong choice in the past to give Bader some opportunities, because he's fun to watch play too. I mean, he really is. But the goal here is to get Dexter going again. Not that he's going yet, but to try to get him going. And consistency, I think, is what Mike Schilt is preaching.
It also doesn't help when the guy that's pushing you comes out of a box at 110 miles an hour, and oh, by the way, is one of the fastest players in the game and one of the best defensive outfielders in the game.
Won the Heart and Hustle Award.
Right.
And I had a chance to tell him that well deserved. And I told him this, Danny. I said, years from now, that award will mean more to you than it does now. And he said, well, it does mean a lot to me now.
Hit to third, and a double play ball. No, they throw it into right field. And both runners advancing to second and third. Happ had a little issue getting it out of the glove after the catch. Rushed the throw. So the out on the catch and then the error.
The ball smoked by Dexter Fowler. Good at bat. Right to Happ. And then the transition wasn't very good, and he throws it away. Both base runners smart enough. They got to go all the way back and tag up before they can advance that extra base. So Tommy Pham gets to second and Ozuna to third. There's a break for the Cardinals.
And it brings in Jairo Munoz with first base open and the pitcher on deck in Weaver.
So these are the moments where you're glad your pitcher is not batting eighth. The argument can be made, Dan, both ways.
Essentially, Joe Madden is saying, I'd rather deal with Munoz instead of Carpenter, though, if things would play out that way.
With one out, you've got to face two guys, but you're also pitching to Munoz in a more of an RBI situation with just one out. You could walk him, hopefully get Weaver with two outs, and a sacrifice fly doesn't do anything for you. And Jim Riggleman had this moment in Cincinnati and pitched to Munoz, and it bit him.
And Mike Schilt was very coy about the move to make sure that they pitched to Munoz. Handshakes for the starting pitcher, thinking that, wow, they're going to pull him and you'll see a position player. Smart move. As Munoz taps it foul, 0-2. Munoz .281 the average with 2 strikes. 4th best in baseball. The league average is .171. This young man's getting better and better. The 0-2. And he struck him out, froze him. First strikeout for Mike Montgomery.
This is a breaking ball that catches the outside corner and the top part of the zone, and not sure why Munoz was so fooled on that pitch, and he couldn't at least adjust to that swing at it unless he thought that was a ball.
Luke Weaver with a couple of hits in his last 2 games. He's actually 5 for 11 at home, 1 for 19 on the road. One of the oddities of his season at the plate.
And Dan, my frustration about Munoz, and he's a player that I've enjoyed watching play, and he was phenomenal in spring training, the best Cardinal player really in spring training. But what I don't like about that last at bat is there's a guy on third base and 1 out. Getting called out should be the last possible thing that happens.
As Weaver puts it in play towards second, Zobrist. And the Cardinals strand a pair. They have left 3 on in the first 2 innings. John Stuper is here tonight, one of the heroes from the 1982 World Champs. I'll visit with John when we come back. John Stuper will always be remembered. Game 6 of the 1982 World Series. He went the distance despite the fact that there were a couple of rain delays, but you go the distance with the team trailing 3-2. John Stuper, welcome back to St. Louis. Great to have you here.
It's great to be back.
Thanks for coming up here too.
My
By the
pleasure.
way, show the fans right there. Now you have a World Championship ring. That's nice, but nothing like this.
Nothing like this. It's not even close.
That means more to you too, right? That fantasy camp ring.
Absolutely. Especially because I was one of 4 managers in Cooperstown. Tom Pagnozzi, John Tudor, Dave LaPointe, and myself. And I beat LaPointe in the championship game, and that made it so sweet. And I'll tell you, I just had a blast. Everybody is, I mean, we had, I could tell you that we won because of my great strategy and whatever, but we won because I had Rick Ankiel and they didn't.
That helps.
And my bench coach for the first game was Ozzie Smith. So
not too shabby.
Yeah, not a bad start for my fantasy camp career.
Was it fun, Cooperstown?
It was a blast, and I would recommend it to any Cardinal fan out there. It was the time of my life. I made a lot of new friends. And the guys are great. They're huge Cardinal fans, obviously, and the former players, Jason Marquis, Ray Langford, Tyler Green. I mean, it just they were phenomenal.
and the relationships, Stoop, are so important to rekindle. You talked about LaPointe, and we were all teammates together with the Cardinals, but you two guys had a very special time together as rookies in the big leagues in 1982.
Yeah, we were spring training roommates for a couple years, and we lived together. We could not be more opposite. You know that, Ricky. I mean, because you know both of us. But
I do.
He's just a great ambassador for the Cardinals. He basically, well, you've been to these fantasy camps, and he runs the show kind of almost, and he just has a fun time, and I just had a blast.
But so important in 1982, both of you in the starting rotation for a World Series championship team, and especially you pitching Game 6, and I assume you look back on that particular game with fond memories.
Well, it's I've milked this thing for about 35 years now.
And you should.
Before I heard Whitey say before the game, and I was just visiting with him, but before the actual 6th game, he told the press that he'd rather pitch Joaquin, but Joaquin was hurt, so he was really pumping me up there. So I really think that my teammates said they're pitching him, and they got 13 runs for me. So, it's the memory of my life athletically, and it's just. Sometimes I don't believe that it happened to me.
Well, you mentioned Whitey, and we all love Whitey, and that hasn't changed since you've moved on from St. Louis, Stoop. But you've been coaching at Yale for how many years now?
I just finished my 26th season.
So does Whitey's input into your life affect the way you coach college students at Yale?
Without question. And the thing that I learned most from Whitey is being prepared ahead of time. Like he would tell, and Rick, you played for him, he would tell a guy that was going to pinch hit 3 innings hence, hey, be ready, if this happens and this happens and this happens, you're going to hit for so-and-so. And I try and do that, and also he was a master at running the bullpen. So I always try not to get caught without a pitcher ready, and I learned, those are things I learned from him, just watching how he ran the game.
Munoz retires Victor Caratini. Are you as smart as your players? You're coaching at Yale.
I'm smarter than my players because I make the lineup. So, and I remind them of that on a daily basis.
What's the biggest differences in the college game? Try to, inform our fans if you can, educate them a little bit. But the college game to what we're seeing now, and the obvious one is an aluminum bat. But what are the biggest differences?
I think the biggest difference is I honestly believe that most college teams are more fundamentally sound than big league teams. And
is that right?
And the reason we are is because we practice 3 or 4 times a week. We go over bunt plays I've told people that if I ever became a big league pitching coach, that my staff would be out every 10 days or so going over bunt plays, throwing to bases, because you see so many pitchers make bad throws to bases because they haven't done it since March. So that's one way we practice. Obviously, the talent differential is large, but I've had 48 guys signed since I've been at Yale in my 26 years. So we have 2 guys that made it to the big leagues. So we have players. We don't have scholarships, and we don't have the depth that a lot of scholarship schools do.
You may not get a lot of those guys either.
No, I don't like that guy.
Rizzo, he's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
He had the walk-off homer yesterday for Chicago, and this is number 14 and a long one here at Busch Stadium.
Well, Rizzo, Danny, has been hot since moving into that leadoff spot. And you think of him as a 3-hitter, but as a 1-hitter, he has been flourishing. Just barely keeps that ball fair. Weaver tried to get in on him, didn't happen. One other thing I want to go back to, John, talking about the smart players at Yale. We're kind of teasing about that. But the reality is you obviously have very bright, talented players there that are preparing for life beyond just playing baseball in college. What are some of the challenges that you face in managing guys at that level?
Sometimes they have paralysis through over-analysis, is what we call it. They maybe think too much instead of just let their instincts take over. But we really go by the mantra that we are looking for baseball players who just happen to be smart, not smart guys who happen to play baseball. And there's a huge difference between those two. You went to UVA, another great academic school. You probably had teammates who overthought things.
No question about it.
That's one of the things that I fight sometimes. But I have the greatest kids in the world, and they do go on to do amazing things. Matter of fact, I just got a text because one of my former players who's from St. Louis, who's going to medical school at Wash U, took a picture of, or took a film of me throwing out the first pitch today.
That's great.
So I'm going to send that to my team.
So you have friends all over the United States because of that job, don't you?
I really do. I mean, we usually have 14 or 15 states represented on the team, and the coolest thing about my job is that a guy from Arkansas becomes friends with a guy from Long Island. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Great to have you back in town. Thanks for stopping by.
My pleasure. Thanks
John,
for having
good to
me.
see you, my friend.
Nice seeing you too.
John Stuper, one of the heroes from 1982. And watching Cardinals baseball tonight on Fox Sports Midwest. Not happy about the Anthony Rizzo home run, 1-0. And now it's Matt Carpenter. Carpenter, Molina, and DeYoung. That was very nice to visit with John Stuper.
You know, I found it, Dan, to be an interesting little combination. We're talking about the fantasy camp where former players get to come back and reconnect and be together on a day where a bunch of players are sent away. And that's the reality of baseball. You do get sent away, and Jim had a great report on that, and Erica about changes that both teams are dealing with, and those are real relationships, and players learn to kind of move on. But the fantasy camp, and even being here at the ballpark with John Stuper and connecting with him is just special. That's the great thing about the game, is you can come back.
0-2 the count on Matt Carpenter. Cardinals had 4 the first time through the lineup. Reach base, 3 hits and a hit batter. 0-2 pitch. Oh, and they call Carpenter out on a 3rd strike. It was out of the zone, and that's strikeout number 2 for Jordan Baker.
Ball was a bit up out of the zone. You see the way Caratini tried to frame it down just a little bit and pull it in, and he gets the call. Matt can't believe it.
Those strikeouts have been looking. The other was Munoz, and now it's Yadier Molina. Singled to right on an 0-2 pitch. Back in the first inning.
One more of those, Dan, and somebody might blow a gasket.
Well, it looked like Mike Schill was about ready to. And the 1-1 pitch to Yadier Molina. Mike Schill, one of the first things he told me, we were in the lobby in Chicago. He said, Dan, I don't want you to be caught off guard, but if I get ejected, Jose Oquendo takes over as the manager. I said, okay. He said, it will not be Pop Warner. It's going to be Jose Oquendo.
You told me that soon after that, and I thought maybe he was letting us know that he's planning on it.
That's what I thought. I said, thanks, Mike. Is this a premonition or what?
Stay tuned. Well, one thing I say about Mike Schill personally, and I've been around him for a number of years now, and he's really grown through this organization, and I've always had a terrific relationship with him, but don't confuse meekness with weakness.
That's down into the left field corner. Dug out by Kyle Schwarber, and Molina now is 2 for 2 with a single and a double.
Yadi blisters that ball. I wonder if that little thing that Yadi was doing about eating salsa, do you think that's what Yadi's little hand signal was to the Cardinals bench? We've gone from the conga line to rock, paper, scissors to I think we may be going to a little salsa eating now.
Matt Carpenter brought me into the kitchen to have the magic salsa and said, you will now call one of the greatest games of your life. He was close because we had a rookie throwing a no-hitter, and I thought this could be pretty special.
You thought back to that, didn't you?
I did. Thought, man, this Carpenter guy, he's really on it.
How'd you like it?
It's pretty good. Matter of fact, really good. A base hit could tie it up. DeYoung singled on an 0-2 pitch to center first time up. Not a big salsa guy.
But you took one for the team.
I did.
It's the kind of guy you are, Danny.
He drugged me in there and said, eat it. The 3-time All-Star tells you to do it. You just say, okay.
Did you, because he's a baseball player, have at least a little bit of thought that it might have had something else in it? Just saying.
Well, what are you saying?
I'm saying that most people that I know who've played baseball would have at least thought to do that. They might not have done it, but they'd have thought about it.
It was a huge pot of it, though. I thought this can't go to everybody.
Well, they could have put a little extra hot sauce in it. Just nothing terrible. I'm just saying it. Baseball players are pranksters, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
But you think you got the real deal.
Oh, yeah. And I'll remind all of them. Remember, I have the last word.
I think they know that.
1-2 the count on DeYoung. Still has that protective gear that he wears on the left hand to protect the bone that was broken about 6 weeks ago or so. And now time called as Caratini will visit with Montgomery. Injury or illness should never interrupt childhood. St. Louis Children's Hospital, guardians of childhood. You see it right now, Tim McCarver in Cooperstown for Bob Costas, and I mean, why? You don't have, why they have a mound visit? It's a 3rd inning.
You think it's possible that they will lower the number of mound visits next year?
I do.
I do too.
It hasn't made an impact, the 6 that you get. Would you agree?
Yeah, well, I've been saying it for a while. I feel like that I think it would make sense to go to 4. I'd be okay with them going to 4. Now, where we will see the mound visit thing potentially become a factor is in postseason play. I believe that will become a different story for teams trying to maximize their their bullpen and their moments and not let a game get away from them.
Sure. Inside. And it's 2-2. It is Hall of Fame weekend in Major League Baseball. Great group going in. And that includes Bob Costas, the Ford C. Frick recipient for all his years in broadcasting. The 2-2 pitch. So congratulations to Bob, who attended Syracuse, then came to St. Louis, calling the Spirits on KMOX. 4 decades of announcing baseball, and only 28 times he's won an Emmy Award.
I thoroughly enjoyed your interview with Bob during the rain delay that we had during a recent homestand, and it was great to have Bob here at the ballpark, to have the bobblehead and to honor him. I know St. Louis still means a lot to him, and your interview was terrific. You guys, I could have listened to that all night.
Me too. He was fun. Thank you. 2-2 pitch. And DeYoung goes down to get it. Hits it out to deep right. Hayward back at the wall. Can't come up with it. It's off the glove, then off the wall. Relay to the plate. He is safe. And DeYoung winds up at third. The way you have to think about this, folks, is that the wall is an extension of the ground. So it'd just be like if it hit his glove, hit the ground, came back in his glove. In this case, hits the glove off the wall, that's the ground, and then he comes up with it. And that's why it is no catch.
And he knows the rules, so he gets it in quickly. Yachty knows the rules, so he starts moving. Yachty's going halfway in case it drops, and it does drop. And you go just far enough that you can score. Well, just far enough is the difference between that tag and a safe runner. Nice tag to the back part of the plate. Good base running by Yadier Molina.
And with that, the infield is drawn in for the Chicago Cubs. It is scored a triple for DeYoung. RBI number 23. Base hit into right, and the Cardinals have the lead. Martinez a single. Drives in DeYoung, and it's 2-1 St. Louis.
Well, you hunt for a pitch you can handle with a runner at third base and just hit it hard. And Martinez does just that, driving it the other way. And that is a terrific at-bat. And more salsa, please.
And a strike to Marcell Ozuna. The 0-1 pitch up the middle, and Ozuna's 2 for 2. Hopefully I explained that well on that ball and with Jason Hayward. I'm sure there's a lot of fans saying, now wait a minute. He caught that ball. Again, you have to think of the wall being an extension of the ground.
You said it perfectly. So it hits the ground right there and right there. It's just like hitting the ground. So it's a dropped ball right now. And the fact that Hayward's able to come up with it, you just can't think of it as the ball didn't drop. You have to think of it as it hit the ground.
And Pham nearly hit by the pitch again. So runners at first and second. And here's Tommy Pham. Ricky talked about the crowd here at Busch Stadium. Boy, it is filled up now. Not a seat to be had. 2 balls and no strikes. A packed house. Late July in St. Louis. Perfect weather. Some Cubby blue in the seats. A lot of Cardinal red. One of the great rivalries in Major League Baseball. And a chance now for Tommy Pham to do some damage. The 2-0 pitch. Dexter Fowler at the on-deck circle. If there's an Achilles heel of the Cubs, and it may change here in the final 2 months with the addition of Cole Hamels, but it is their starting pitching.
And that's been the strong point for the Cardinals. Their bullpen's been better. The Cardinals bullpen has had ups and downs, but the Cubs rotation has been a little iffy, and Hamels could be huge for them.
Swinging on 3-0. 6-4-3 of the double play. Cardinals with 4 hits in a row and a lead. It's now 2-1.
Hey Dan, your first call up to the major leagues is of course pretty memorable, but in Dakota Hudson's case it was pretty unique too. Hudson was pulled in the 2nd inning of his last start on Wednesday by Stubby Clapp, a move he was originally pretty upset about until he saw the ball that was handed to him with a message written on it saying, quote, "This is your call." He said Stubby sold it the whole time. He really had him fooled, and of course fans have been clamoring to see Hudson up here with the big club this season, a 13-3 record and 19 starts this season. John Mozeliak said earlier today he and Daniel Ponce de Leon will come out of the bullpen for now, but of course they're both valuable assets in that role.
How cool is that?
Isn't that phenomenal? And the teammates' response, their buddies going to the big leagues. Danny, that is such a special moment when he gets his first game, just as when Ponce de Leon had his first game. I'm sure Hudson was eyeballing that, couldn't wait to root for him and text him and congratulate him. He's got a lot of friends be cheering him on now that he's in this Cardinal mix.
And a base hit into right field. And Zobrist is 1 for 2 after the fly out by Baez. 1 out single, and the batter is Schwarber.
So when you look at the Cardinals bullpen now, you're looking at the elder statesman. There's really Bud Norris, of course. But you start looking around, who else has been here for a while? Luke Gregerson would be number 2. But beyond that, it's Mike Myers and John Brebbia.
Right.
Those are the guys with the most experience other than those other 2.
From the left side of the pen, it's Tyler Webb, Austin Gomber listed tonight. From the right side, Norris, Hudson, Gregerson, Hicks, Myers, Brebbia was sent down, and Ponce de Leon. Here's Schwarber, who struck out swinging first time up.
I am intrigued as to how those relievers are going to be used. Whether you've got a 6th inning guy, a 7th inning guy in the midst of that. I think Hicks has the 8th inning lockdown and Norris the 9th, but who knows what might happen in the next week beyond that.
I think Mike Schilt is intrigued too. Got to find out what he's got. Who's a ground ball specialist? Who's the guy that you call upon when you need a strikeout? Who's the guy that gives you length in a bullpen for a couple of innings? I mean, all that right now is on the table.
I think the ground ball guy is Hudson.
I do too. Doesn't get a lot of strikeouts, but good sinker.
Rarely gives up home runs.
I think fans in general are happy with the moves. It's been a frustrating year, clearly, for the Cardinals, and in particular with the bullpen.
Makes me think of my longtime friend Bob Forsch, who used to say sometimes you have to do something even if it's wrong.
There's a swing and a miss. Schwarber has struck out twice. Bob Forsch, a Cardinal Hall of Famer.
And I was struck in Cincinnati while we were there. Had he not unfortunately passed early, he was coaching in the minor leagues with the Reds. He might have been Jim Riggleman's pitching coach.
Thought the same thing, actually. The in-hap, a bouncer up the middle and under the glove of Munoz and into center. Zobrist advancing from first to third. Runners at the corners. And here's the pitcher batting 8th, Montgomery. Montgomery struck out back in the 2nd inning. The Hormuth family is here. They've come from all the way in Grand Rapids, Michigan, big Cardinal fans, and watching on Fox Sports Midwest. Not a bad game to check out. Cubs and Cardinals tonight. The 1-0 pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike. Seen a lot of hits already in this game. The Cubs with 5, and the Cardinals already with 7 through 3 innings. A pickoff at first, and Martinez made sure that did not get away. That could have been costly there.
Yeah, he's not afraid to throw. Nice play by Martinez. Ball just sailed on him, didn't it?
There's a benefit to throwing behind the runner with a left-handed batter at the plate. You're kind of hidden there. But also of concern is making sure you get through the throw to where that left-handed batter can block the catcher, and sometimes throws can sail. Now Yachty did that with the pitcher up. I'm not sure that's advised, but still no damage done. And the 2-2 pitch. Struck him out. 2 in the inning, 4 tonight for Luke Weaver. Coming up, Fowler, Munoz, and Weaver on a beautiful night here at Busch. Hospital and Washington University physicians, guardians of childhood. And try the $4.99 Jack's Spicy Chicken Club Combo with toasted sourdough. New from Jack in the Box. Seven, 8, and 9 for the Cardinals in their lineup here in the home half of the fourth. 2-1 our score. Albert Almora in center. Ball got away from the fans and chucked it back. That Cubs fan right there. Should mention that the outfield, the grass about as good as you can get it after the concert, which was a week ago tomorrow with Kenny Chesney, and that's where the stage was right there in center field. Here's the 0-1 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fowler hit a liner to third, first time up. And Dexter picks up a base hit to left. His bat looks completely different.
He's quicker. He's not late. And, you know, he's got a long way to go. And, you know, Matt Carpenter turned his season around. I don't know that we can expect the same level of that from Dexter Fowler because he dug a little bit bigger hole here, but clearly swinging the bat better. He hit the ball out front. They're not throwing it by him. And I would say stronger, too. I mean, I think there was a time where he just seemed very weak at the plate for Dexter Fowler.
Here's Jairo Munoz, came up with 2 on and 1 out and struck out. He's in the 8th position in the lineup tonight. 2 days ago, it was Harrison Bader who came up with a runner at third, less than 2 outs twice and struck out, and that was one of the differences in the game. 2 balls and no strikes. Talk about the Cubs going first to third. They've done that 79 times. The Cardinals first to third 49 times. Base running, very important. Defense, athleticism.
Dan, the Cubs obviously have more hits than the Cardinals, so they've had more opportunities to do that. That's part of that. The Cubs actually have the highest average in the National League. It's not just about batting average, of course. It's the power that you have and the on-base percentage, but hitting .266, they're number 1 right now.
Another factor is the Cubs have the most walks, so getting on base. 2-1 the count on Jairo Munoz. And Fowler was running with the pitch. 2-2. We have seen that under Mike Schilt. He has been a lot more aggressive than Mike Matheny, at least initially, running on even bunt plays. The bases loaded situation the other day in Cincinnati was a designed play to score a run. We've seen an aggressive style. The 2-2 pitch. Instead of check on Fowler. The 2-2. Munoz was one of the big stories in spring training. Broke north with the club to New York and got off to a very slow start, then sent down to the minor leagues. He has to come back and has looked like a different player since then. You know, he got that initial taste of it, big league life,
right,
and everything that's a part of it, and now is settled in.
Well, what you see with a young player is when things start to go bad, how do they react? And if you start to see doubt in their eyes, you have to send them out to develop that hunger again and then come back with a vengeance. And I think the second time back, you're not so introspective and kind of beating up on yourself all the time. And I think he was starting to get to that point. They recognized it, sent him out, and he came back, and all he's done is contribute.
Runner goes, and it's tapped foul. A packed house here at Busch Stadium. That's a cool looking shot there. The camera lens of Phil Nichols, who next inning might be down in a dugout. That guy works, man. Doesn't mean I have to like him, but I do appreciate his work, and I do like him.
Me too.
This will be the 8th pitch in this plate appearance to Jairo Munoz. So on 3-2 in this spot, typically, not all the time, but typically Mike Schilt will start the runner even with the pitcher on deck.
I think if you've got a guy at the plate that you think is going to put the ball in play and make contact, you go.
And he is running, and it's a base hit into right. Fowler on his way to third. And the runners are at first and third for the Cardinals, and nobody out here in the bottom of the 4th. Good at bat by Jairo Munoz.
So, Danny, you're talking about first and third. Do the Cardinals get first and third if Dexter's not running on this pitch? Maybe not. You've got a good, strong arm in right field. You had Jason Hayward, so the way you go first to third is get the head start. That's what Dexter does, and there is no stopping it.
Mike Schilt imploring Jose Oquendo, the third base coach, to come down the line and make sure he verbalized what he wanted in this spot with Luke Weaver. Rounded out back in the 2nd inning. Runners at the corners, nobody out. He's showing bunt and takes a ball. One thing you don't want to see is a double play with Carpenter on deck.
Well, what I think he's doing is he's just trying to bunt Munoz to second base, and I don't think Fowler really needs to be concerned about this having anything to do with him. Now, if it goes in a good spot, Fowler can go, but the idea is not for this to be a squeeze or even a safety squeeze. Now, a squeeze would be the runner just takes off. Safety squeeze is the runner gets a good extended lead and then runs after the bunt is down. Now, maybe that could happen with Fowler, but I think this is really just to get Munoz to second base.
Weaver gets the bunt down. Late break by Fowler, and he's out. It's a late break. And it turns into a fairly easy out for the Cubs.
And that's not, I don't believe that was what was intended by that play, because that ball was right back to the pitcher, too. Not just the late break, Dan, but if it's towards first or towards third, you're going to score, but it's right back to the pitcher, and all he's got to do is have a short flip to the plate. That is just running into an out.
And Weaver, normally a very good bunter with 7 sacrifices this season, most in Major League Baseball. So now runners at first and second, Carpenter coming up. And the Cardinals have had some really good opportunities here early on.
You said a double play would hurt, but that hurts too.
No question.
Two runs on 9 hits. Montgomery at the moment has to feel pretty fortunate.
Remember the last plate appearance for Carpenter, he was rung up on a called third strike. It did not like it at all. Then our replay showed indeed it was a ball. Carpenter, a slugging percentage .840 in the month of July. That is the best in all of Major League Baseball. Here's a 1-0 pitch now to Carpenter. Instead of check on Munoz at second base. You barrel a ball up and good things can happen, and that's been the key here with Matt Carpenter. Highest barrel rate against left-handed pitching this season. And also by left-handed batters. Carpenter smokes one out to center. Almora, though, is there. Makes the catch. Munoz tagging up from second to third. It's on sale now. It's the 2018 yearbook. Celebrates the golden anniversary of Bob Gibson's historic 68 season and the year of the pitcher. A Q&A with Gibby, compelling features, recollections from Hank Aaron, Tim McCarver, many more. 345-9000 or at cardinals.com/yearbook.
The bunt play not working in front of a Matt Carpenter at bat is a bad recipe, because you know he's going to have a good situational at bat. You can't say he would have done exactly the same thing, but the Cardinals have to this point left a run on the table in this inning.
Here's Molina. He's 2 for 2. And strike one. Single to right on an 0-2 pitch. That was in the first inning. In the third, a double in the left field corner and scored on the triple by Paul DeYoung. Outside, 1-1. Molina is starting to really pick it up. He's 5 for his last 7. Plays every day. Day game after night games. And he's doing it at the age of 36. And Benji's watching.
Love those guys.
He's now 3 for 3. Drives in a run. That's Munoz. Weaver to third. Yachty on his way to second, and he is safe. A double for Molina.
I'll have to listen later to Polo and Benji's call on that. You know it was an excited one. Those guys love Yachty, and who doesn't? Another big night for Yachty, 3 for 3 already. Weaver, he runs well for a pitcher. Stumbles a bit, but makes it to third. And Yachty just barely gets to second with his second double. Outstanding.
So 2 outs, 2 on, 3-1 now the score. And a ball to DeYoung. He's 2 for 2. He singled on an 0-2 pitch, a base hit back in the first, and then tripled off the glove of Jason Hayward.
I enjoyed you and I getting a chance to chat with John Stuper, who was part of the 1982 World Series championship team with the Cardinals. Struck me when he said what he said about Whitey Herzog. 3 innings ahead, thinking about what might happen and being ready for it. So if you're Mike Schilt right now, you have to think, who's pitching the 6th? Who's pitching the 7th? Do I have a double switch in mind? How am I planning on using my relievers in the 8th and 9th? And who do I have off my bench to play where when I switch them out? All those things have to start now.
DeYoung yanks one down the left field line, but foul. His last time up, a triple, first of the season for the Cardinals, just the 6th of the year. Javi Baez has 6 triples alone. The 2-1 out in front again, and watch out.
I was also struck by John Stuper saying he's smarter than his students at Yale because he makes out the lineup.
Well, he's got the final say.
Yes, he does. We all need to remember that every once in a while, don't we?
That's right. The feeling that DeYoung is starting to get locked in. The 2-2 inside. Jose Martinez on deck, and you would think Montgomery does not want to face Jose with the bases loaded. Having said that, then Paul DeYoung gets a pitch to hit. We'll see. And DeYoung into center, base hit. 1 run is in. Here comes Molina. 5-1 Cardinals. All 3 runs this inning, scoring with 2 outs.
Change up, or looked like maybe a cutter went in on his hands. Maybe it was just a change up that sailed, jammed him a bit, drove it to center. It was a cutter, and Molina's able to score from second. He's been working hard tonight.
And so is Jose Oquendo. Have you noticed him just running down the line with Jose, or with rather Yachty Molina?
His knees are better.
Getting down that line.
He's running again.
I like it. 11 hits now for the Cardinals. They're stretching in the Cubs bullpen, but yet no one has grabbed a baseball yet to throw. So a single, and DeYoung drives in 2. He's driven in 3 tonight. Martinez lines it out to right, and Hayward there for the catch. Cardinals pick up 3. They add to the lead, and it's 5-1 St. Louis.
You know we're on the air, Dan.
Oh, we're back. 5-1 our score. There's a look at the game summary. Cardinals with 11 hits. And now Luke Weaver dealing with a 4-run lead. Victor Caratini at the plate. You know, the 5 previous career starts against the Cubs for Weaver. This has been kind of his bugaboo, if you will, this team. Weaver has never gone more than 4 innings against Chicago.
0-4, high ERA. And it's a team he's got to learn how to beat if he's going to be a Cardinal starter.
You bet.
Because he's going to see him a lot.
Here's a 1-1. And it's 1-2. Big gap in right center field. And a fly ball out to right. There's Dexter Fowler. And there's out number 1. Our Budweiser What's on Tap, and it's Miles Michaelis, the all-star for the Cardinals, against Jose Quintana. Quintana 9-6, the lefty. Michaelis 10-3 with a 2.82 ERA. He was less than pleased about being pulled in the last start against the Cubs as Mike Schilt decided to go for it, went for offense. He came back on the plane with us and said, man, I'm really kicking myself after that move, but you could see it going either way.
Well, he understands the human part of that. You know, you've got a guy that's an all-star and he deserves maybe a chance to go deeper in the game. And, you know, the way he described it, which I thought was perfect, is sometimes the situation you want does not happen in the right inning. And he was hoping that would be an inning later, but it isn't. So then you've got to make the choice of either staying with him or going to your plan B. And, you know, you always have some indecisions about it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And Managing a big league team is a tough job.
It's the big leagues, man.
I was going to say that, but seems like somebody else says that
a lot.
You know, the other thing that happens in the big leagues, Dan, last inning, Cardinals do not execute the bunt, right? So Cardinals pick up that mistake by driving in 3 runs with 2 outs, and perhaps later today and tomorrow we forget about the bunt. So that's what happens when a team wins. Every team makes mistakes in every game, but do you go beyond those mistakes, make up for those mistakes, get big hits, and minimize them?
The 2-1 is fair into the corner, right to Fowler. He's got a chance to get him. The throw to second. Oh, he's got him. Yes. Fowler guns down his good buddy Anthony Rizzo. That caromed off the wall right to Fowler in a perfect spot. I thought he may have slid under the tag, but Joe Madden apparently will not challenge, at least for the moment.
Well, the pitch is up in the zone, and Rizzo hammers it again, but the bad break for him is it went right to Fowler. Throws the ball right on the bag, and he is...
Well, it's close.
Well, does he come off the base?
And that's what I'm thinking.
Wasn't the best of tags by Paul DeYoung either. It's a little slow getting it down there. Of course, you think about DeYoung and a broken hand, throwing your arm into a slide with guys coming in two spikes at you. That's, I understand his tentative nature there, but it was a tentative tag.
So the Cubs will challenge if it stands. Second outfield assist for Dexter Fowler.
The more I look at this play, the more perplexed I get. Did he tag him? Looks like he's on the bag already. Is he still tagging him now when he's off the bag? Hard to tell from that angle. If I had to guess, I would say he's going to be safe. And we'll find out.
I'm sure there'll be a few text messages from Dexter to Anthony Rizzo later tonight. And the batter is Almora. That pitch up in the zone. With
So
2 outs and nobody on here in the top of 5.
So Danny, one of our keys to the game we were talking about was Weaver's ability to go deep into the game. He's third time through the lineup now.
Right center, Fowler. There, makes the catch. 10-pitch inning for Luke Weaver. Coming up, Ozuna, Pham, and Fowler. Second outfield assist of the year for Dexter. 5-1 Cardinals. Food Bank presented Fox Sports Midwest with results from our Fox Employee Impact Week, a truly rewarding volunteer effort for our staff. We thank the St. Louis Area Food Bank for the opportunity to help in the incredible work that they do. Here's Marcelo Zuna. It's off the end of the bat. He's hustling up the first base line, and he's out. Ricky, I thought you were spot on with that tag from Paul DeYoung. Brought up a great point about, it may have been a little bit of a softer tag than you're normally used to, but there's a reason behind it because of the hand.
Yeah, and tagging, putting a tag down for an infielder is something we just take for granted, but that's something that they work on. And, especially in our day of replay, Dan, if you don't get a good tag wherever you might be around the bag and stay on it, then you may cost your team a run or a game. So what you do to get a tag down is, again, we take it for granted. I think Colton Wong's great at it, and he's great at a lot of things, but we maybe don't talk enough about how he gets his glove in the right spot in front of the base and is courageous about it.
It's sharply to third and under the glove of Happ and into left field. That is already the 12th hit for the Cardinals tonight. One out single by Tommy Pham. Join us for Cardinals Hall of Fame weekend. It's coming up the 17th of August through the 19th. Presented by Edward Jones. And a Dizzy Dean watch is one of the giveaways. It's coming up August 19th. Courtesy of AT&T. Cardinals.com/promotions. Good looking watch. Here's Fowler, who is lined out and grounded sharply into left field. It was 105 miles per hour off the bat to pick up the base hit back in the 4th. Last 8 games, Fowler is hitting above 300. So slowly but surely getting better. StatCast powered by AWS, and this is from this side of the plate for Dexter Fowler. So big gap, and you can understand why on the right side of the infield.
So you wonder why teams defend players the way they do with shifts. They look at that spray chart and say, well, where's he hitting the ball? And they also want to know where he's hitting the ball with authority too. There's another kind of layer to that. It's not just where are you hitting the ball, but where's kind of your base hit area? What do we need to take away here? And you'll have a spray chart for a right-handed pitcher and a left-handed pitcher, and whether you're a switch hitter or not, which Fowler obviously is, but you may pull right-handers and hit the ball the other way against left-handers if you're a left-handed batter. That happens. So those spray charts are such a part of the game now. And they really always have been, Dan. The pitchers used to keep those for years. The starting pitchers would keep charts, and the managers would have them, and you'd have meetings on them. And this goes back 50 years. It's not a new thing, but it's just certainly more down the road progressed because of technology.
Video.
Yes.
Computers. Cardinals, 7 of their 12 hits tonight have come with 2 strikes, so Montgomery has not been able to put them away. A count of 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now there's a couple of pitches in this at bat that Dexter Fowler chases. A little bit in that pitch, a little bit up.
It's really what Mark Badaska and George Greer told me today at the batting cages. They're looking for guys to hunt strikes, shrink their zone to what their drivable pitch is, and of course with 3 balls you have to, or 2 strikes you have to protect. But the idea is to shrink that hitting area and attack it and hit the right pitch. Don't let the right pitch go and swing and miss at the wrong one.
And the 3-2. Pham is running, and the pitch is hit to short. Cardinals avoid the double play by starting the runner again. You'd like to see that from Mike Schilt. Makes sense. So Pham at second base. Here's Jairo Munoz. First base is open, and they will intentionally walk Munoz to bring in the pitcher's spot, and that'll be Luke Weaver. That's the first walk on either side tonight, and it's an intentional pass.
It's one of the things that Mike Schilt said he wanted to kind of work on, is just getting more movement, and it's not just stealing bases, but it's having the runner on the move more. I think it's helped in this game for sure, and I think it sends a message to the other team too that this is our game. We're not going to be reactive here and wait for somebody to hit the ball somewhere. We're going to take it to you.
That's out of play. The Cardinals 4 for 11 tonight with runners in scoring position. Chase McMullen and his crew here tonight enjoying Cardinals baseball. If we didn't have them here, I'm not sure we get through the telecast. Here's the 0-1. And it's 0-2 as Weaver was looking back towards us.
He really had some sliding feet, didn't he? Like he was wearing roller skates, and he spun around. And I think he was wondering what you thought about his swing, Danny.
I've seen better. I've seen worse. That's all I could say.
Been to fantasy camp.
I've seen a lot worse. Reminds me about my walk-off game-winning hit that I had at fantasy camp that I rarely talk about.
Sorry I brought that up.
Here's a 1-2 and a swing and a miss. A strikeout of Weaver. The Cardinals strand runners 6 and 7 on the night. Hayward, Baez, Zobrist coming up. Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Vacation umpire. Well, if you're not needed, why not just go out into the seats and do your thing?
Never seen that.
Those guys aren't happy. That's funny. Some changes here for the Cardinals in terms of their defense. Greg Garcia at second base. Jairo Munoz going from second to third. And Matt Carpenter from third to first. Those are your changes. Here's Jason Hayward, who's 1 for 2.
It's been a good start for Luke Weaver. Has not walked a batter. I think that's a big key to it. 4 strikeouts, but he is working his 3rd time through the lineup. That is the key moment we're talking about. Get past 6, maybe even beyond that. Pitch count extremely low, only at 66 at the moment.
He's only had 1 3-ball count. Hayward chops it to second. Garcia makes the play, and there's 1 away. A 5-1 game here in the top of the 6th. 2018 Cardinals Hall of Fame induction class has been selected. The Cardinals and Edward Jones honor Harry Bakeen, Vince Coleman, Ray Langford. Ceremony August 18th at Ballpark Village. That's at 3. Cardinals then take on Milwaukee later that night. Cardinals.com/HOF.
And I assume you will be working that Hall of Fame?
I'm assuming. I haven't been officially told.
What if I ask you to do it?
I will do it.
I think you do a great job with it.
I love it. It's an honor. It's been a lot of fun. My favorite part is before the Hall of Famers go out on stage. You've got baseball's Hall of Famers, and then the Cardinal Hall of Famers. They all have their red jackets on, and it's kind of a tight space before you go on stage. And then you see the guys that will be inducted that day. Wow. Left center off the bat of Baez at the wall, and it's gone. Hit it as high as he did long. And Javi Baez with home run number 20.
Where is the guy that used to strike out all the time, swing wildly? A lot of swings and misses, but he is not that guy anymore. Such a power swing. Into some Cub fans.
That's his 4th home run against the Cardinals this year. And a strike to Zobrist. Just to finish my story, you have all those guys, as you know, they can yuck it up getting together again. They're old baseball guys. They're going to give each other a lot of trouble. And then when the inductees, they get through the line of the Hall of Famers, they have heard it from everybody.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They are sweating bullets, nervous about a speech.
I'll be in the front row watching.
You gonna go?
Oh, I'm gonna. I always do. I don't miss it, and I'm gonna be. Might be throwing some popcorn at Vince Coleman.
Over under how many minutes of his speech?
How long is the is the
How
whole
long
event?
is the ceremony? We're not going to have to worry about filling an hour.
No. And you have commercials, right?
Yes, we do.
Of course. Huh. Well, good luck, Dan. Vinny's got a lot to say.
I'm sure. Dakota Hudson is getting loose in the Cardinals bullpen. And the 1-2 to Ben Zobrist. Lined, and it's on the chalk, or the paint, if you will. And that'll be a double for Zobrist. And here come the Cubbies.
Well, the Cubs are now 3 for 5 in their first 5 hitters, the 3rd time through the lineup. And that's got the attention of Mike Maddox, who's been such a, I would say, encouragement every time he comes out to the mound. And everything he does with his mannerisms, of course, we're not privy to all the things he's saying, but you got the arm on the shoulder, and he's doing everything he can to let the pitcher know that he's with him. Now let's talk about what to do. I bet he's taking some psychology classes.
He gets that hand on the shoulder and you kind of see him squeeze, and then sometimes he puts two, and there's no other choice if you're the pitcher but to look at the pitching coach.
So think about what he's doing there. He's grabbing your attention, look at me, but he's also physically saying relax. You can't help but to be tight right now because of what just happened. Whatever it is, relax and let's talk about it and move on.
Here's Schwarber, who's 3 for 5. Check that, 3 for 7 against Weaver. Now 3 for 8. Runner advances Zobrist from second to third. But this becomes a very important at bat right here with Ian Happ, who's got home run power.
Broken bat, end of the bat. Weaver went down. And DeYoung was Johnny on the spot.
What do you think, Ricky? Pitch count at 76. If he gets Happ here, you good with one more inning?
Yes. Bottom of the order.
Tommy La Stella is at the on-deck circle. He would pinch hit for Montgomery. And a strike. This game is far from over. The firepower of the Cubs in their lineup.
Unless you want to test your new bullpen, 7, 8, 9. Give it a spin.
Cubs were down 6-1 yesterday against Arizona and came back to win it. And that was in the 6th inning that they were down by 5 runs. And the 0-2 pitch to Ian Happ. Weaver's gone right at him in this at bat.
Boy, I'm rethinking because I'd like to have Dakota Hudson up and in to a game.
That's why I brought it up. And an 0-2 pitch with a changeup. He's done that against all these lefties tonight. Very efficient. This has been the longest of his innings, 16 pitches and counting. Got him. Struck him out. That's 5 tonight for Weaver. Midway through 6, top of the lineup coming up for St. Louis. to their bullpen. Randy Rosario, our Chevy called to the pen. 26th appearance and an ERA of 2.03.
He looked good in Chicago. We saw him a couple of times, and the numbers are good. You can see them, 2.03 ERA. And the numbers against lefties particularly good, which is why he's facing Matt Carpenter. We talked about how good Matt had hit the Cubs, and he's the only Cardinal without a hit in the lineup here tonight so far.
It was Mark Budaska that told Matt Carpenter when he was at AAA in 2010 and 11, you will be a home run hitter. And what he meant by that, not a guy that's, you know, Mark McGwire out there, but you're going to hit some home runs. Remember when he was in the minor leagues, high on base percentage, the doubles, which was no surprise. But Mark told him, and there's the shift on Carpenter, that you will be, with your swing, as you mature, understand your swing, the league and the body getting a little bit stronger, you're going to start hitting some home runs. And that definitely happened with Matt Carpenter.
Good call.
Mark Budaska.
In fact, nobody's hit more home runs this year than Matt Carpenter at the moment. And that is stunning to say that.
It really is.
From where we were on May 1st.
And where we were in 2011 and 12 and 13 was all the doubles. Eight home runs against lefties, a career high this season for Carpenter. The 2-1 pitch. A big happy 70th birthday to Linda Meese. Linda watching tonight on Fox Sports Midwest. Happy birthday, 70th to Linda Meese. A 3-1 pitch to Carpenter. I asked Matt the other day, I said, are you into launch angle? He said, I don't like that stuff. He said, the shift does not bother me. He said, but what I try to do is find one pitch, and I'm looking to drive it, and I mean hit it hard.
You think John Stupert talks launch angle with his players at Yale?
No, sir.
I bet some of them talk about the launch angle and then the barometric pressure and then the
some of those
spin
guys
of the earth. That's
right.
what I'm talking about. Some of the players
Yeah,
will.
good point. They're at Yale, so.
Now listen, Coach, let me tell you what's really going on.
Well, you got Paul DeYoung that kind of does that.
He does.
You know. Matt was a 5-year player at TCU, which is often forgotten. And redshirt a year because of Tommy John.
And unusual for those guys to get a chance to play baseball at a professional level unless they're really good.
And that pitch taken high. Phillips 66 ticket vouchers are back, and they are better than ever. Fill up at Phillips 66, 8 gallons or more, and you can get a voucher for up to 50% off. Up to 8 tickets to a Cardinals home game. For more information, visit cardinals.com/Phillips66. And there's ball 1 to Yadier Molina. 22nd time in his career that he's had 2 doubles in a game. He's 6 for his last 8 and pulls it foul. If you don't have netting in ballparks going down that portion of the park, in particular here in St. Louis, there's other places that jet out like that with the stands. Bring a glove. You have to pay attention, as we saw in Cincinnati.
Bring a glove, protect a child.
Remember, was Yachty at the plate too?
It was.
Here's a 1-1. I wonder if we're not too far away from having netting and extended even down further to where we're seeing some of these foul balls.
I think you're right about that. I understand that the folks there sometimes will say, and that's been the pushback, is we want an unobstructed view. But I think fans that sit behind the net end up not caring that much after they do it.
Hit and run was on, and now Carpenter in a rundown. Still in a rundown. And now tagged out. You can understand why Mike Schilt may push it here. You're up 5-2. Yachty's got 3 hits and a very good contact man. Very good hit and run combination.
Well, he just got a tough pitch for him to handle. It was down and in. He was trying to hit the ball the other way and just didn't make contact. And not the best rundown in the world. They did some things right, but too many throws.
Two, 4, 3, 6, 4.
Too many numbers.
Too many. And a strikeout of Molina. And now it's time for Built for Baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. Paul DeYoung is 3 for 3. 0-2 pitch, base hit to center. In the third, a triple off the glove of Hayward. And picked up an RBI and a run scored. And then with 2 outs in the fourth, this would drive in 2. All 3 hits have come with 2 strikes. The Pirates currently tied with the Mets 4-4. It's in the bottom of the 9th. They actually lost a couple.
I'm interested to see the Pirates again. What's different?
What do you do at the trade deadline if you're Pittsburgh? You're right in the thick of it in terms of the wild card. You're 8 out at the start of play tonight in the Central.
I certainly don't think they're sellers.
Wouldn't think so.
But they don't have the deepest pockets either to be buyers.
It's really a fine line because, as you mentioned, they're usually fairly tight, limited resources. 2 outs and a runner at first, and now Greg Garcia. Find it interesting at home how Mike Schilt has played this. This would have been at the spot for Jose Martinez, but with the, at the time, a 4-run lead, he went with defense.
And that's a big question. If you're going to go to your defensive team, do you do it for 3 innings, 2 innings, 1 inning, or 4? And he chose 4. And I think one of the factors in that, Dan, is how long until the guy comes up again that you're taking out. That's the bat you're worried about losing. And in this case, Martinez made the last out in the 4th inning, so the thought was we wouldn't see him for a while.
Right. DeYoung, by the way, his 21st walk of the season, already matched his total from a year ago. And Garcia waves at it and strikes out. So 2 in the inning to go along with 2 walks. 6 innings, 8 hits, only 81 pitches, couple of runs, both earned, no walks. That's always big, and he struck out 5.
Sure, he wanted to go deeper in the game than he was able to go, but good outing for Luke Weaver. Showed some competitiveness and put up good numbers. And we noticed between innings he had the post-game debrief with Adam Wainwright. Looks like that's moved now to his batting, and that may take a while. The pitching was better than the hitting.
So Mike Myers in our Chevy call to the pen. Tommy LaStella is at the plate. Then Caratini and Rizzo. And the 1-1 pitch. Good fastball at 96. Out of necessity, maybe, but also out of what he's earned. Mike Myers is getting into more pressure situations.
Well, choose my words carefully about how I say this about Mike Myers, but I think he earned it long before he was given the opportunity to do it.
I would agree. Say spring training.
Yeah. And I think he should have been given a more prominent role, stayed with the team, not gone up and down. I understand the option question, but I just think he showed more life on his fastball, good slider. I mean, he's a guy that should be pitching later in games. He showed that in spring training, showed it last year in AAA towards the end when he was closing for Memphis. He elevated his game when he went to the bullpen. You find something good, and for some reason it got stalled for him early in the year. He wasn't used a lot and did the up and down thing, which I don't think was good for him. And I don't think it was good for the Cardinals bullpen. I think they would have had more stability, I think, if Mike Myers would have been more prominent throughout.
Well, he broke camp, and he was, I think, the story pitching-wise of camp. There's a fly ball to Ozuna. He had 1 appearance in 13 days, and for whatever reason, Mike Matheny did not want to go to him. And you can only imagine Mike Myers looking over his shoulder. They signed Greg Holland. I mean, there's a lot of things that maybe were going against him, but Mike Matheny didn't really use him initially, and that, I think it just all built up.
And I understand the why, because you're looking at some of the veteran guys that were brought here to be the 7th, 8th, and 9th guys. But I think Mike earned a shot to compete with them. And whether it's Dominic Leone or all the guys that were in that mix at the beginning, Luke Gregerson, the whole bunch of guys, I think Mike Myers was the guy that we just kept forgetting about.
Yep. And then all of a sudden, it's tough, as you know, to stay sharp when you're not used. And then you come in, you think, well, do I need to be perfect so I don't go back down to the minor leagues? So 2 outs and nobody on, and here's Rizzo, who's 2 for 3. We've seen Anthony Rizzo a lot, Ricky. How do you try to pitch him? Because he hovers over the plate.
Well, I think, you try to get him out in, but then you're afraid to hit him. I mean, he really hits the ball out over the plate pretty well when he gets his arms extended. Paint the outside corner with him. I just don't think you can stay one way with him. I think the better hitters don't have a big glaring weakness that's obvious. That's why they're the better hitters. So you just have to go away, in, up, down, in, out, and then take pace off of it. Outside, inside. 96, 97. So you add and subtract from velocity a little bit. That's part of it. But he's going to give you a good at-bat most times. When we saw him earlier in the year, you could jam the daylights out of him.
Yeah.
But I think he fixed that.
Jammed him. Popped up on the infield. Myers wants it. He says, Ricky, I'm an athlete, not just a pitcher.
It's the 4th time we've seen that this year.
I love it.
It's a new trend.
Catch the ball. You've done it all your life.
Darn right he's an athlete.
and by Ford, going further so you can. Jim Hayes here, Erica Weston. Two reporters on the scene for this big matchup, the Cubs and the Cardinals. Rick Horton, Dan McLaughlin with you. It's the Gateway Honda home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. New pitcher is Alec Mills. Right-hander. They have 5 righties in their pen, 3 lefties. Ozuna 2 singles tonight. Now with 81 singles this year, that's most on the club. Here's the 1-1. 1-2.
Still looking for those extra base hits, though, aren't we? When you think about Ozuna, the reason he came to the Cardinals, what were we lacking? Thump in the middle of the lineup, and he's here to thump. And I for one will take the two hits a night if that's what he gets. But you still think of him as a power hitter, gap hitter, doubles at home runs, and frankly, from a season ago, that's what the Cardinals were missing, and that was his job to do that.
One and two the count. Alec Mills wearing number 24 for the Cubs. Our Chevy Colt to the pen out of Clarksville, Tennessee. Originally a 22nd round pick by the Royals in 2012. That part of Tennessee, you got to wonder if he grew up a Cardinal fan. Anywhere in Tennessee,
I
you
bet
wonder
he
that.
did. Clarksville, that's Austin Peay University.
It's sharply to third. And the first out. Ozuna 2 for 4, and it brings in Pham, who has been hit by a pitch, grounded into a double play on a 3-0, and singled into left back in inning number 5. It is a fireworks night here at Busch Stadium. Fireworks and the Cubs and Cardinals. That'll get you a big crowd. Two and 0. Looking forward to the matchup tomorrow. Miles Michaelis, Jose Quintana. And it's 2-1. Some of you will see us on Fox Sports Midwest. If you tune in on Midwest and can't find us, just head to FS1. The broadcast will be going out nationally as well. 2-2 the count. And the 3-2. Many times with my various analysts that I work with, I like to give their resume. Rick Horton was part of championship clubs that made it to the World Series. Cardinals in '85 and '87, won the World Series with the Dodgers in 1988. So pitched a long time in the big leagues and coached as well. And I'm getting to my point here in just a moment. Celebrate the 5th class of the Cardinals Hall of Fame inductees. August 17th through the 19th. It's presented by Edward Jones. There's a mystery baseball cap. Honors Vince Coleman or Ray Lankford, courtesy of Edward Jones. And you can get those mystery caps on August 18th. Cardinals.com/promotions. Reason I bring it up, MLB Network had a remarkable look back to the 1988 Dodgers. I don't know if you saw that yet.
I saw parts of it, yes.
I've seen you in it when you were there. And they had some behind the scenes footage in the clubhouse, and then with guys that got together for the reunion. You talk about some emotions from Oral Hershiser and Also, Kirk Gibson. I meant to ask you off the air, but
might as well ask me on.
I am. You need to see it. It's really well done. I'm sure to bring back, just you'll be flooded with memories.
Well, Oral was in tears talking about that year and that magical moment, and to have Vince Scully emceeing it was special.
All right, the Pirates still plugging along. So are the Cardinals, leading in this game 5-2. As Jordan Hicks is into the ball game, our Chevy call to the pen. Albert Almora breaks his bat, and that is getting sawed off. Wow. About 10 different pieces that bat. They're still picking up little shards of it.
That'll be an at-bat that he will not want to look at on video. And we talk about being deep in the kitchen. That is way deep in the kitchen.
How fast that ball gets on the hitter.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I mean, Jordan Hicks is going to do that to some batters. Embarrass you.
I still am shocked, and it's the Hyundai pitch arsenal for a guy that throws this hard with the movement he possesses. I'm still shocked not to see the amount of strikeouts higher for Jordan Hicks. And I realize he gets ground balls,
but he gets a strikeout an inning, and he's gotten more of that since he had a slow start on strikeouts.
I'm still shocked.
Yeah, like you think he should be getting 2 an inning.
Yeah, I mean, a guy throwing 100+ miles an hour.
Well,
with movement.
He's going to learn how to use all of his weapons better, and watch out.
There's the 0-1 pitch to Hayward. It's a pretty good weapon right there.
I wouldn't doubt that somebody said to Almora on his team when he came back to the dugout, the classic line, you know, the line is the ball's not carrying the center field.
Right. I mean, that is in your kitchen, man.
Oh my goodness.
And the 0-2 pitch now to Hayward with 1 out. So he's gone 103 on the outside portion of the plate. A devastating slider in the second pitch, and now another slider in the dirt. Let's see what he wants to come with here on 1 and 2. It's a tough league. You gear up for the fastball, and then you get the slider.
So I would say this is one way to look at it with Jordan Hicks. He may not have as many strikeouts as you want, but he probably has as many swings and misses. So he has to figure out how to get strike one, strike two, then go nasty on you. Instead of getting the swing and miss on pitch one.
And by no means am I saying it's disappointing. I'm just saying I'm just surprised. Right. I mean, this guy is must-see TV. He's fun to watch.
Agreed.
You love power in sports. And certainly there's a power arm on the mound right now. And he got him. 102 with good movement. And the strikeout. Now I'm happy.
Not good movement. Unbelievable, ridiculous, filthy movement. This is a ball that almost hits the back of the plate, and that's a sinker at 102 miles an hour, and that's a big league hitter who's been swinging the bat pretty well lately that chased that pitch.
Do you think we're going to start seeing more and more of this type of arm? And I bring that up because Martinez, Rosenthal, Segrist, that was that big wave of these power arms we were talking about the Cardinals had. And I just wonder, you know, just here and there, some of these guys like Hicks are going to start popping up.
Power has gotten redefined in the last 5 years. Power's not 94 anymore, 95. We'd say, well, Luke Weaver doesn't throw particularly hard. He throws 95 miles an hour. So does Michaelis, for goodness sakes. Everybody throws 95. So power is now 100.
And a grounder hit to short. Baez retired. Nice work by Hicks. A 9-pitch inning. And we move to the bottom of the 8th. It's 5-2. Well, it's been a fun night here at the ballpark with the Cardinals leading by the score of 5-2, 12 hits. And the second inning of work for Alec Mills. Jairo Munoz showing bunt. Looks at a breaking pitch and a strike. And a broken bat. This is our largest crowd of the season. 15th sellout. 47,169 tonight. 47169.
Kind of warms your heart, doesn't it?
I like it. Harrison Bader has moved to the on-deck circle. And it stays 0-2. The Cubs will have Zobrist, Schwarber, and Happ looking ahead to the top of the ninth. And Bud Norris has gotten up in the Cardinals bullpen.
We didn't see Dakota Hudson in this game, at least not yet. But I think it was important for him to get up and get the feel and get the energy. I've always thought that was important. First day in, get up. You're on this team. Get somebody up, or if it's a pinch hitter, somebody off, you have him pinch hit off the bench. If you're here, get him in right away. That was an old Whitey Herzog philosophy, which I agree with.
Tony La Russa would do that as well. And Munoz waves at it, strikes out. Mills has gotten the first 4 he's seen.
Bello, cooling and heating. #1 rated. Call now for special offers. Bello, answer the bell.
So Mills has seen 4. He's gotten a ground out to third, fly out to left, and a pair of strikeouts. A strike to Harrison Bader. Just seems like Harrison's kind of in between right now.
I thought he was late a lot on fastballs the last time we saw him in Cincinnati. And, it's just timing. And my comment at the time for Bader was, you feel for him because he hasn't had a lot of at bats. But Danny, this is the big leagues.
It's the big leagues, man.
Got to be ready.
Got a breaking pitch, lifts it into shallow center. Almora with the catch. Now Harrison over his last 9. We kid about that with Tim McCarver always saying it's the big leagues, man.
But it's a fact.
A lot of truth to it.
No, there's no question about it.
Here's Carpenter 0 for 3 with a walk. Line to center, and struck out.
He was an old pitching coach for years. He was with the Pirates, also with the Baltimore Orioles, Ray Miller, and he designed a T-shirt that all of the players on the team would wear. And I remember Tito Landrum wearing it one day. He played for the Orioles when Ray Miller was there, and the T-shirt had listed on it all the possible excuses that you could have. It was just a whole bunch of like, oh, the sun was in my eyes, and on the back in big letters it said no excuses, but the rest of the shirt was all kinds of took a bad hop, played too much, had a long flight, wham. No excuses.
No excuses.
This is the big leagues, man.
A little bit more twang.
This is the big leagues, man.
Better. Our Chevy called to the pen. He is 19 for 22 in save opportunities. Boy, Ricky, you would think if the Cardinals are not done dealing, this would be.
He's attractive.
Yeah, he's a chip.
Well, you're not going to deal somebody that nobody wants. That doesn't really get you anywhere, because you're not going to get anything back. Bud Norris, you know, not every signing works out, but this one sure did.
Three for 24. Zobrist against Bud Norris. And a grounder pulled foul. Oh, what a play. You talk about being ready. Backhanded play and a souvenir for that young man. Ricky, you've always got to be ready for the call no matter what.
All about preparation, Dan. You got to see it coming. You got to get the glove in the right place and squeeze it. Outstanding.
Tell you what, we need to start double switching him. The 0-2. GMC leaderboard. Cubs National League this season hitting .266. Nothing into the count. Out of play and a souvenir.
Norris had a rough game on the road trip and felt like he didn't have his slider that day, and talked to him a couple days later. He said he just felt out of sorts that day. Just didn't feel right. Just didn't feel good. Just some days you're strong, some days you're not, and he was struggling to try to get past that. But the slider wasn't sharp, so he was relying. The velocity was okay, but as he said, he didn't just have that zip to it. Just didn't feel right.
And it happened at a really tough time too.
I know.
It's a debut in a terrific outing for Daniel Ponce de Leon. Cardinals gave up the lead and then the game.
One of the things I've liked about being around Norris, he's going to tell you what he's thinking.
Oh yeah. Here's a 1-2 pitch. And he struck him out. Plaza Tire Service, Fox Tracks.
Well, there's the slider he didn't have. 88 miles an hour, back door. He has done a terrific job. You saw it in the numbers when he came in on pitching against left-handed batters. He just crowds them so well, and he'll face 3 lefties this inning. And he just has the ability to get that cutter in. Yeah, they're hitting less than 200 against him.
Gets it under the hands of a left-handed batter.
But he also pounds that outside corner well too. Boom.
That's the thing I don't remember about him, Ricky, and maybe you do, but I do remember his success against the Cardinals, but I don't remember this pinpoint control in right.
No. I remember him more as a curveball guy.
Yeah.
Bigger breaking ball than he throws right now.
0-2. The 0-2 pitch. Norris to Schwarber. Got him to reach, and a fly ball out to Ozuna. He's there. 2 outs. And we turn to tonight's Budweiser play of the game, and it's an outfield assist. Dexter Fowler catching his good buddy Anthony Rizzo. Would have been 1 out. Runner at second with Almora and Hayward coming up.
Play was reviewed. Went the Cardinals' way. And one of many things that has gone the Cardinals' way here, first game of the homestand.
Tapped foul, strike 1 on Ian Happ. found it interesting. Matt Carpenter saying the other day, we haven't had a run.
Right.
Every team gets a run. What happens if we get on one? That's what you hold hope for. Oh, and 2. The 0-2 pitch. One and 2. Happ is 1 for 3 on the night. A base hit to center back in inning number 4. One, 2, struck him out. Called third strike, and the Cardinals win it by the final of 5-2.
Cardinals did everything right in this game. They pitched well. Luke Weaver picks up his 6th. Good relief work, and the Cardinals swung the bat. 5 runs on 12 hits. Nice night at Busch.
It's a fireworks night, and you know Brad Thompson and Scott Warman, they're going to bring the lightning on the postgame show.